Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Before we start on today's topic, I wanted to give you a few reminders, and also I wanted to give you a compliment. I want to tell you that I have been really blown away by the discussions that you've been having on the discussion forum. The participation level is excellent. We have almost full participation every week. And the level of the discussion, the caliber of the insights that you're sharing and the examples that you're bringing into the discussion is really impressive as well. So keep that up. I want to remind you that for full participation, please respond to one of the questions that I post by Wednesday. And this is just to give your colleagues a chance to read your response and then reply to it. And then participate in some other way by Saturday. And then the second reminder that I wanted to give you is that this week you have the third team milestone due. The instructions are posted. If you have any questions, please see me during a regular class session on Zoom, or feel free to make an appointment as well. And then I also want to tell you that if I have contacted you by email regarding the Marketing Minute, because you have not done it in class before spring break, that is also due this week. Okay, today we're starting the last P of the marketing mix, the promotion P. When we started this class, before we defined what marketing is, some of you may have thought that this whole class was going to be about the promotion P, the very visible part of marketing, like advertising and social media and things like that, which we call integrated marketing communications. But in fact, it is only one of the four elements of the marketing mix. And as I've said about several topics, what we're going to be covering today and next time on the promotion P is just a very introductory, broad overview. In fact, I used to teach an entire course about IMC, about integrated marketing communications, but this is just to give you a flavor of what it's all about. And if you want to know more, there are other courses you can take, or ask me and I will point you in the direction of other resources as well. So the promotion P, more formally or more precisely, we refer to it as integrated marketing communication, which is the planning, execution, and evaluation of coordinated brand communication programs to targeted audiences. So that's a mouthful, but what it means is all of the processes that the brand or the company engages in to plan, to execute, like to put them into action, and to evaluate after the fact or during the fact its communications with various audiences, with its target audiences. And what you want to do, your goal throughout all of this, is to deliver consistent messages that are, of course, in line with the branding that we developed when we developed our product across all of the platforms. And that's why it's integrated. So you want your advertising and your social media and your direct selling, if you use salespeople, and your special events, everything to talk like it's coming from the same entity, to talk with the same voice. That's really, really important, to deliver the same message with the same voice. And keep in mind that marketing communication has a variety of aims or goals. It aims to inform people, maybe of our brand or of our product if it's new, but it also aims to remind them, if we're well established, to persuade them if they already know about us, but we want to win them over as a customer, or to build relationships, to have that relationship ongoing, or to just be a top of mind for our customers. We talk in marketing about three models of communication. The most traditional one is the one-to-many model. In the one-to-many model, we have the marketer or the brand delivering communications to many people at once. And we do that through things like advertising, like TV or magazine advertising. We do that through sales promotion, like sending out coupons and things of the sort. And we do that through public relations. These are three of the elements of promotion. And that has traditionally been how we communicate in marketing. But we also can engage in one-to-one communication where the marketer speaks to each customer or each consumer individually. And that is done most commonly in direct selling, where we might send a salesperson to talk to the customer one-on-one, or in direct marketing, things like sending out a personalized email or a personalized letter to our customers. Now, more recently and increasingly, we also have many-to-many communication where the marketer encourages but then kind of takes a backseat while consumers communicate with one another about our brand. So this can happen on social media and on buzz building activities. Okay, in general, communication, when we talk about it, we talk about the communication model. And this is a model that describes exactly how communication happens. And it's important for us as marketers to understand that, whether we're engaging in one-to-many, one-to-one, or many-to-many communication, because like I always say, we want to know what we're doing and we want to be intentional about it. You may have seen this model in a management class or in classes that are related to communication in general. So in any communication that takes place, even if it's not marketing related, even if it's related to your everyday life, we always have a source, which is the entity, the person or entity that created the communication. And in the case of marketing, that can be the company or the brand, for example. And then the course encodes, which means puts whatever the message is going to be into an understandable form. So the source encodes the message, and the message can take the form of advertising, public relations, sales promotion, a pitch by a salesperson, whatever it is. And the source encodes the message. When we talk about message, we mean the actual content of the communication, the form that it takes. And then the message is placed in a medium. It's the vehicle through which the message is transmitted. And that vehicle in a marketing context can be a magazine, a newspaper, TV program, billboards, social media platform, whatever it is. And then it is decoded, meaning sort of translated, or the decoding is the process whereby the receiver is going to give meaning or assign meaning to the message. So the receiver does the decoding, and the receiver typically in marketing is going to be the consumer, but they might also be the B2B, the business to business customer. And then the receiver may somehow send feedback back to the source. And the feedback can be through simply purchase data, or if you've sent out something very specific like coupons that are stamped with certain dates or codes, you might see how many of those come back to you. So the feedback can be very specific like that. Or it might be engagement on a social media post. And now, while all of this is happening, you have noise. Noise can be just noise, like we talk about in everyday language, but it can also be anything that detracts or takes away from your message. So it can be competing messages. It can be other things in the magazine that your message is published in. For example, something else that the reader is eager to carry on and read. It can be lack of clarity somehow. Do you know that game we all used to play, the telephone game, where 10 people or however many people line up? first person whispers something into the ear of the second person, and then by the time it reaches the last person, the message is something completely different, and that's due to noise. So just the whispering, the lack of clear communication, all of that can be considered noise. And these things are really, this communication model is really important to keep in mind when you're creating your message and thinking about how your receiver is going to decode it. Are they going to decode it the way you intended it when you encoded it, and so on and so forth. Okay, so now that we've covered the groundwork, I want to let you know that today we're going to talk briefly about two elements of the IMC mix, or the promotional mix, the promotion P. We're going to dedicate most of the time to advertising, and then at the very end I will touch upon sales promotion. And then next week we will discuss social media and very briefly discuss public relations and direct selling. Okay, so advertising is the first topic. Advertising is the element of the marketing of the, promotion mix that still uses up most of our marketing communication budget, most of our promotion P budget. So even though social media is extremely popular, even though public relations are extremely pricey, they cost a lot of money, we still spend the vast majority of our marketing budget on advertising, and mostly TV advertising, believe it or not. So advertising is non-personal communication that takes place using mass media like television, magazines, newspapers, but even online ads are also considered advertising. And it's probably the oldest form of marketing communication, or among the oldest. And as I said, even though it's slowing down and being overtaken by different forms of digital marketing and by social media, it still remains the thing we spend the most on. So we can't ignore it when we discuss the promotion P. When we're creating ads for our brand, we have a number of different decisions to make. And advertising is considered a very creative field. So you need to keep the brand in mind, the strategic side in mind, what you're trying to do with that product, but you also need to keep the creative appeal in mind. So the first decision that you have to make is, what is my advertising appeal going to be? The advertising appeal in a nutshell is the argument that you're going to use. What is the type of argument that you're going to use? And by the way, before I go any further, I want to tell you that I am not going to be using a lot of examples today in this lecture, because over on the discussion, I'm going to be asking you to provide the examples. That's what the discussion is going to be all about. So we can use five main types of appeals. The first one is informational appeals, and these are simply ones where we very objectively try to be objective, but very straightforward way lay out the information for the consumer. Or we can use emotional appeals, where we are talking more to the consumer's emotions than to their rational side. So talking to the heart rather than the mind. Or we can use a unique selling proposition, which is not just giving lots and lots of information, but focusing on one clear reason why our product is better than any of the competition. We can also have a reminder appeal, where we're not really giving an argument about why our product is great or why our product, trying to tug at your heartstrings, but we're just making sure it's top of mind, reminding the consumer about it. And then finally, we can have a teaser or mystery appeal, where we're not saying much at all, but we're just telling you something big is going to happen, stay tuned. So that's the first decision we make when we're creating an ad. What is the appeal going to be? The second decision is the execution format. So whereas the appeal was the type of argument, the execution format is the basic structure of the message. So it's the format of the message. The main types of execution formats are, you can have a comparison ad where you're comparing head to head your brand or your product with a competitor's, and you can do that in a very straightforward way where you're actually mentioning the competing brand name, or you can do it in a more covert way. We can have a demonstration format where we show the product in action and show exactly how it's used and kind of do a demo. You can do brand storytelling where the brand or the product is part of a complete story. So in 30 seconds, you have an entire plot. You can have a testimonial where either just an everyday Jack or Jill talks about how great the product has been for them, or celebrity endorsement is a special kind of testimonial. You can have slice of life, which is kind of a moment in the day, one scene from someone's everyday life featuring the brand or the product. And a lot of the time we combine slice of life format with emotional appeal. And that's a little different from storytelling. It's not a complete plot of a full story. It's just one snapshot. And then we can have a lifestyle format, which is showing someone who is attractive to the target market, usually someone that the target market aspires to be like, using the brand or somehow interacting with the brand in a way that's very lifestyle specific. A lot of the time this is used with health related products, for example, where do you remember the granola bar ad when someone is sitting on a mountaintop after a long hike enjoying the granola bar? That is a very lifestyle type format. And finally, the last decision that we need to make when we're doing an ad, when we're creating an ad, is tonality. And tonality refers to the mood or the attitude of the message. So we've decided on the appeal, we've decided on the execution format, but the same appeal and execution format can have a different tone, a different mood of the ad. And an ad's tone can be straightforward. It can just be kind of serious and neutral, or an ad can be humorous, so it can be a funny ad, or it can be very dramatic and a little bit theatrical, or it can be romantic and sexy and kind of, related to your love life, dating, etc. Or it can be fear and related to what your apprehensions. I want to, for a second, talk about fear tonality. So research in general has shown that fear tonality is not extremely effective, at least relative to the others, compared to the others, even for nonprofits. So we used to rely, decades ago, we used to rely heavily on fear tonality for nonprofit advertising, where the theme of the ad would be, if you don't help this charity, these horrible things will happen. Or if you don't do this, if you don't recycle, the earth is going to be doomed. We still do that sometimes, but in general, they're less effective than some of the other tones we have found. One of the examples that comes to mind is the anti-smoking ads that were geared toward teenagers. Probably, this was maybe from 20 years ago, and they used to be all about black lungs and how unhealthy it was to smoke, and how you could get lung cancer, etc., etc. And then someone decided to use Brooke Shields, who, she's not from your generation, you may not know her, but she's a model, an actor, and the ad featured her kind of leaning against the wall, and the caption was something along the lines of, the lips who smoke can never touch my lips, or something along these lines. These ads were hugely effective, and this is when we started researching the fact that fear tonality may not be as effective as other types of tones, even for something like smoking. So just keep that in mind. Okay, finally, after we've constructed the ad, and I want to urge you when you're thinking about constructing the ad and the appeal that you're going to use and the tone that you're going to use, we've discussed marketing ethics repeatedly. Always keep these in the forefront of your thinking. So the point of the appeals and of the tone and of the format is not to deceive anybody. It should absolutely not be. So keep that in mind. But after you've constructed the ad, or as you're constructing the ad, you need to think about the scheduling. Do you want your ad schedule to be continuous, flighting, or pulsing? Continuous schedule means that you are running your advertising all year round with the same intensity. A flighting ad or flighting advertising schedule means that you are only running the ad sometimes during the year, and that's usually used for very, very seasonal products, things that are related to holidays or to very specific seasons of the year. We don't really see Christmas products or Halloween products advertised in February or March, for example. And then a pulsing schedule is one where you do have, it kind of combines the two. You do have advertising for the product year-round, light advertising for it, but then you ramp it up a little bit during certain times of the year. So you might do that for products that are in higher demand during certain times of the year, but they also sell year-round. That might be something like ice cream, for example, where it's likely to sell more in the summer, but it still sells some year-round. Some of the things that we measure when we're advertising is the reach of the ad and the frequency of the ad or of our message. Reach refers to how many, or the percentage of people in our target market that saw the ad, and frequency is on average how many person has seen it. So reach only counts each person who has seen it once, and then frequency just counts the average of how many times it was seen by every person in the target market. And frequency is important because research shows that you need to be exposed to an advertising message or a communication message multiple times before it really sinks in and becomes effective. Okay, let's move on very quickly to sales promotion, which is a second type of IMC, a second type of integrated marketing communication, or a second element in the promotion P of marketing. So sales promotion is any program that is designed to encourage a pretty immediate purchase of the good or service. So anytime you see something that's designed to get the consumer to buy the product pretty quickly within a specific period of time, usually a month or maybe a couple months, that's sales promotion. Short-term objective is the key thing about sales promotion. And here are the main types of sales promotions that we use. Coupons. So if you see a coupon, that's not just a regular ad. We call that a sales promotion because it is designed for the customer to take it into the store immediately and make a purchase, whereas an ad can have much longer term objectives, like these objectives that we talked about at the beginning of the lecture, like informing and building relationships. Price deals. So price deals, like putting something on sale, is not really part of the price P. It is actually a sales promotion designed to encourage an immediate sale. Even rewards programs, samples, all of the samples at Costco, that's considered a sales promotion. Contests and sweepstakes, etc. All of these are sales promotion. Okay, that is all I have for you today, and I will see you on the discussion forum.